zeros. Get them all out of there. Okay, what is your ultimate goal with this? What are you trying to do before the test? Yeah, twos, how many of them? All of them, right? All twos. That would be good. I've actually had students before who showed me their textbook, and there are numbers everywhere, and I see nothing but twos eventually. And I look at them and I say, okay, so you have a test tomorrow on this chapter, is that right? They say, yes. And I say, every page I turn, I see twos everywhere. So what that means, I think, is if I just turn to one of those and I read it to you, you'd be able to tell me all about it. Is that right? And they say, sure, anyone, go for it. So they're very confident. That's good. So I just flip through the pages, I find one, and I say, okay, how about this one? And they say, oh, that's very interesting. And then they begin teaching me, and they talk for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and they explain it really well. I said, that's good. How about this one? Oh, that's good too. And they're just like an encyclopedia. They're just full of knowledge. Well, if you can get every one of the headings to be a 2, you're as ready as you could ever be to do well on the test. And one other specific thing about this, this may not seem like it's that important to you, but hopefully I can make a little sense out of this. There are 2 basic ways that a person can record and keep track of their scores. And I want to see if you can figure this out. You get a 50-50 shot at this, okay? One way would be to have the heading either in the book or on paper, and you give yourself a 0, let's say, the first time. And then the second time, you do better, so you give yourself a 1. And then later on you go back and you do it again and you do even better and you give yourself a 2. So that's one way you could do it. The other way would be this. Now this is the same thing, right? I mean, you end up seeing where you finished, but I think one of these is a lot better way to do it. And so which one would that be? Top or bottom? Bottom. Why bottom? Shows progress. What's that supposed to do for you? Encourage you, build your confidence, right? Because remember, what does 0 mean? 0 means this. And what does 2 mean? Oh, let me tell you all about it. That's incredible when you can go from this to clueless to being an expert at something. And when you look through your chapter and you see a bunch of these, that really makes you feel hopeful that you can do well on the test. Okay? Now, like all the study techniques that I teach, this will not work with every textbook that you ever have. My favorite example of this is math. I guess you could try this with a math book, but I don't think it would work too well. There are other classes where the book doesn't really fit, but when the book has definite headings and lots of factual information in there, this works really well. And so again, if you've never heard of this or tried this, you could technically do this with some of the reading you have to do in the next week or 2 for the final, but at least starting in the spring, keep this in mind and experiment with your books. Some of them won't work all that well this way, and some of them you'll think this is really helpful, and you'll be able to just continue that. Okay? Any questions on this one? Okay. The second one is the shortest one of all the things I'm going to teach you today. It's called reducing. Everybody knows what reducing means. Smaller. If I asked you whether you wanted to have a test in one of your classes on 10 pages in your book or 50, which one would you pick? Well, yeah, if anybody said 50, please.